Yo, let's get into it. So preseason overreaction, week 2 of 3. Let's get into it. So we're gonna talk about the Steelers first because I feel like that's the most compelling story that's going on right now. So Russell Wilson and Justin Fields having a mid off to see who's gonna be the starter of the Steelers. So let's get this out the way. Mike Tomlin is an excellent head coach. He's a bad offensive coach, right? I'm not gonna sit here and be like, oh, he needs to be fired. He needs to be fired, and it's his fault. No, no, no. He needs to get somebody and let them run the offensive show. That's what Mike Tomlin needs to do. The Steelers need to prioritize that and let him run the offensive show. The I'm not gonna say the game is past Mike Tomlin, but I think Mike Tomlin needs to outsource some of the offense to make his team better as a whole. Because Mike Tomlin is an excellent coach. I think he needs to outsource the offense a little bit because it's very disjointed. It's very weird. It's been like that for damn near 5, 6 years, right? I wanted to start with that because Colin was on his show talking about it's time for them to fire Mike Tomlin and all this BS. I recorded this Monday. It'll be out Wednesday. And yeah, so I just wanted to start with that. Mike Tomlin is the coach for this team. They just need to find somebody with a defensive, with a good offensive acumen, even if it's for 1 or 2 years. This would never happen. But could you imagine Lincoln Riley to be Mike Tomlin's offensive coordinator? Could you imagine that? Like, but that'll never happen because these coaches have huge egos. And but yeah, that's just I wanted to start there. So Russell Wilson and Justin Fields, like I said last week, I have no numbers. It's the preseason. They both looked very bad. They did not look good at all. Neither one looked good. Justin Fields, excellent runner. He made some great some runs. But come on, it's Justin Fields. Like I'm at a point with Justin where I'm like, okay, you made a 15-yard run and got away. I need to see what you're doing in the pocket. And I'm not even one of those type of pocket guys. I love runners, right? Lamar Jackson, my favorite quarterback. So, but I gotta see you do it in the pocket at least enough to be respected. It's his passing is just not respected right now, and that's a major issue. Russell Wilson, typical Russell Wilson, up down. I expect Russell Wilson to be okay. I expect him to be the starter for at least half the season. If Russell Wilson is the starter the whole season, Justin Fields did something incredibly wrong. You know what I mean? So um, I'm really concerned with these two guys. I'll put their numbers up just to stress my point. But like from week 1 to week 2, it didn't look any change, and I'm very, very concerned with them. Now I have watched a little bit of the social medias and everything, and they have an offensive line troubles, which is true because the offensive line was terrible and the Buffalo was getting after it. Buffalo was playing like it was a regular season game. So also there was a little tempo difference, but you shouldn't look that bad. You shouldn't look that bad. You're not that much worse than Buffalo. If you look, even if you just look, I looked at the first quarter and then I re-looked at the game today. You shouldn't be that much worse than Buffalo. You just shouldn't be. Let's get the injury out the way. So JJ McCarthy or McCaffrey, I'm sorry, I keep pronouncing his name wrong, is out for the season. What does that mean for the Vikings? Well, that means the Vikings is probably not at the playoffs unless they get somebody worth something. I don't even know who's on the market. It looks like they're gonna go with Sam Darnold, which is yeesh. I don't know if they've seen Sam Darnold in his last 3 stops, but that's not going to do anything. That's not going to do anything. It's not going to fix anything. That's just not going to work, right? So I expect the Vikings to be decent. They have a really good team. They got the best receiver in the game. Um, but it's going to be rough. It is going to be rough for the Vikings, but I expect them to be fine and be the Vikings. They're always in it. They're literally always in it. So Caleb Williams, he's passed all the preseason tests. It's time for live bullets now. It's time for 4 quarters of NFL football. He's done what he needed to do in the preseason. I would contemplate not even starting him week 1 or week 3 of the preseason, and just getting him ready for the regular season. He's done everything he needs to do. to solidify that spot as the number one guy and the number one quarterback for the Chicago Bears. There's nothing else to talk about. There's nothing else to look at. Caleb Williams is that guy in Chicago. And possibly if he plays the way I think he's going to play, he's going to have a C.J. Stroud type of rookie season. And that's saying a lot considering C.J.'s broke. Jaden Daniels is – I didn't know that this wasn't even a conversation, but it came out today that he won the starting position. I'm like, you're the Washington Commanders. We knew he was going to be the starter. Why are we putting out a press release for Jaden to be the starter? Duh. Water's wet. Taxes are too high. Like, if we just saying stuff that we know already. So I don't know. I don't get it. I do not understand why we needed a press release for you guys to let us know what we already knew. You took him number 2, or I think somewhere in the top 5. I'll put it up on the screen. You took him in the top 5. Like, what are we talking about? Trey Lance. I said I wasn't going to talk about Trey Lance, but Trey Lance keeps coming across my timeline, and I keep getting asked to talk about him, so I'm going to talk about him. If he plays this year, we'll really get to know. But at this point, I just want to see Trey Lance play. I'm sure other people have talked about that. I'm sure people have all across the country have said that. I don't watch the shows no more because they're just stupid. I'm going to talk about Nick Wright's top 10 list in a minute. It's absolutely awful. But Trey Lance looks like an NFL, at least an NFL guy right now, at least. But that's Dak Prescott's job. And we haven't seen Dak Prescott yet. And so, and we've barely seen Trey Lance, honestly. So I just want Trey Lance to play more football. Excuse me. Trey Lance is that type of guy that he'd be the type of dude to do a AJ McCarron thing where he like, okay, I need more reps, but I'm not getting them in the NFL because nobody trusts me. Let me go to the XFL or the UFL now. Let me go to the UFL and be absolutely dominant. And then show you that I'm worth that. And then he could parlay that into another contract. So I'm gonna keep looking at Trey Lance. Obviously, we're gonna cover Dak Prescott this year. Cowboys, what do you expect? Yeah, so that's pretty much all I got for the Cowboys. So Lamar Jackson and Michael Penix, they're not playing for two very different reasons. Michael Penix, they said they've seen enough that he's not playing. But he's only played one preseason game. And he's not your starter this year. A 30-some-year-old Kirk Cousins is your starter. And Penix is older as a quarterback. But you don't need to see anymore. I don't understand what Atlanta is doing. And I feel bad for Atlanta sports. The Hawks, whatever their baseball team is, the freaking Falcons. It's just disorganization everywhere down there. And that's antithesis of the city, honestly. But like, it's you've seen enough for Michael Penix? What? It's just so stupid. Like I wish Michael would have went to the Vikings. Because he would be the starter right now in the Vikings, and we would be seeing him play week 1. Atlanta is so dysfunctional, it just makes no sense. In a division where you could possibly win it and start fresh, you could win early with your young guys in Atlanta because the division is so terrible. You decide to go, and I got a whole video about this. I'll probably leave it at the end, even at the link at the top, or leave it at the end. But what are you guys thinking? You've seen enough after one game, one preseason game, when everybody's playing base coverage. You've seen enough, really. I don't care about like these scripted practices, these co-op, or it's probably, I don't know if it's co-op, but 2-team practices. You've seen enough. I don't know. I just don't know. I don't know. Lamar Jackson. Lamar Jackson is 2-time MVP, and he should have at least one Super Bowl appearance on his belt if it wasn't for some drops and poor play, right? I know Lamar is a dynamic guy, and I know he's had injury concerns and all this. I just feel Lamar Jackson, and I said this back in the day when he sat in week 18, or that's probably week 17 at that point. Week 17 that 1 year, and then they lost in the first round. Lamar Jackson should be playing. Lamar Jackson should be playing in the preseason. At least a series. At least unless he's nursing something we don't know about. Now you can be like, Kesey's in year 7. Da da da. I get that he's in year 7, but why do we have to take bumps in the road at the beginning of the season and go like 2-2, 1-3 to begin the season? Because we're learning how to play with each other when we really could just hit the ground running if Lamar Jackson was playing already. Lamar Jackson is a rhythm player. He needs to get louder and going and, hit them dump offs and run a little bit. Now, I don't want him running in the preseason, but I don't know. I just think he should play at least one series a game. At least. If Patrick Mahomes, see, my thing is, if Patrick Mahomes is playing, there is no excuse for nobody else to not be playing. Pat shouldn't even suit up for anything until a week before the season. That's a 2-time Super Bowl champion right there. And if he's playing, Tom Brady used to play, Peyton Manning used to play preseason, and Lamar's trying to be on that level, if not on that level already, you got to play in the preseason. Now, I think it's a organizational thing because I know Lamar want to play ball. So if you guys hear anything in the background, it's my neighbors. So let's talk about the Nick Wright's BS list, right? It's going to be real quick. So that's why I put it at the end of this video. So Nick Wright put out a list of his top 10 NFL players because the NFL did a horrible job, right? Or the players did a horrible job. Everybody thinks the list is bad, but Nick's list was even worse. I'll put it on the list. The Chiefs we already knew who was going to be on the top, right? So he put we knew he was going to pick Pat first, right? Which I'm not mad at Pat being first, right? I'm not. My issue is not having Josh Allen and Lamar Jackson in your top 10 quarterbacks list. That just lets me know the agenda that you have already. You can argue it all you want to. You can say who's number 2, who's number 3, because I think those are the Pat, Josh, Lamar, Pat, Lamar, Josh. It's Pat, and then you can put whatever two you want. I'm not in the business of arguing that. It's about who you like and some other stuff that shouldn't have anything to do with football as to who you put in number 2, right? So, but it should be Lamar Jackson because look at the numbers and look at the successes. But that we're not here to have a Lamar Jackson versus Allen debate. When you don't do what you need to do as far as you can have Lamar 10th, and I would think that's wrong. You could have Josh Allen 6th, and I might think that's wrong because I value the quarterback position more. But to not have Lamar and Josh Allen in your top 10 list when everybody knows these are bona fide top 5 guys. It's Pat and then everybody else, right? Bona fide guys that you're not putting on your list because you are not, for one, you don't like them or whatever BS narrative that he makes up right now. I'm a LeBron guy. I love Nick Wright, but I've not been able to watch First Things First anymore just because of the overlove and way too much fandom that he gives us now. Like, it was better when the Chiefs were not good because he couldn't do the fandom thing. He might be, well, Kesey does that with LeBron too. And I wouldn't argue with somebody if they felt that way about it, right? Because the LeBron thing gives this life of its own, right? I just don't like people who be disingenuous. That's like Chris Broussard leaving LeBron out of his top 5 list. And it's like, come on. We're not having a real conversation if that's the case. So I hate the list. There's some players on the list that I'm cool with. But to not have Lamar and Josh on your top 10 list of NFL players right now, it's just stupid. So that's really all I got for you guys today. Let me know what you guys think. I really want the conversation I want to open up the conversation is let's talk about Michael Penix. What is going on in Atlanta? I know I got some Atlanta fans. I'm sure I'm gonna have some new viewers. just based on what I'm doing in my personal life and all the stuff I'll tell you guys about that when we get more deep into it. But let me know what you guys think. Let's have a Michael Penix conversation in the comment section, and I'll talk to you guys later. Peace.